Hi, everyone. I'm Dave.
And I'm Jib.
Welcome to our Tech Over Coffee podcast. We're so excited to be filming this podcast here from the main campus of Chipola College in Marianna, Florida. One, we have this beautiful facility where we could to talk about topics and share ideas together and business technology related. And also we get to kind of share in our program. We get to talk about what we're working on in the class environment, the research, the topics, kind of some things that are current events that tie to items that we might practice with and might look at to apply later.
Anything from like computers to cybersecurity and networking. Even a lot of our students like to play games and stuff like that. So we have the whole 9 yards of things like we like to talk about.
That's
so.
right. We have everything from certificate programs, which we have, I think, 6 of those. And cybersecurity is a big push right now. CBS News and World Report reported that there are about 500,000 jobs, cybersecurity jobs, unfilled.
I think that's the 5th time you've talked about that
Not
today.
today, though. Not today. In Florida, Texas, many are in Florida, most are in Florida, so that's exciting. And also our ranking, 5th in the nation, we're excited about that.
For affordability and
Quality.
And
that's
quality,
right.
yeah.
So you kind of get more than what you pay for, so that's exciting.
Absolutely. Chipola College is one of the best valued colleges that we have here in the state area, even in the tri-state area. And so, that allows us to bring in a lot of,
Opportunities, people,
opportunities
resources.
and people. So we have like a diverse amount of people that come into our cybersecurity and our computer programs here at Chipola, and, we love to have them all. So, if anybody out there, is interested in getting into some cybersecurity or computer programming or just computer programs, then just let us know or come into our offices here on Chipola campus, Building Z.
That's right, and we have classes and opportunities face to face and online, and kind of a mixture of both. We utilize some Zoom technology as well, but mostly we seem to have a lot of interest in face to face and online right now. And coming out of this pandemic, it's interesting that there's a big surge in people who are wanting face to face. We even have a lot of bachelor students that just with busier schedules now and kind of more opportunities coming out of the pandemic are looking for online. So we truly have a mixture. And we're bringing back some fun stuff. We have our gaming community. We had that in place for years.
We're finally getting the CGC, the Chipola gaming community, back up and running.
We have a Discord channel. You don't have that memorized, do you?
I know I don't have the Discord channel memorized.
It's just a bunch of numbers.
Yeah. So we're starting to get a finally like a good look on some of the games that we'll be playing in the CGC. And so
we have a community switch now, so we're excited about it. It's a lot of opportunities.
So whenever we'll actually announce it on the podcast here.
Oh, sure.
Whenever we'll have the CGC up and running, and we'll be playing games, and we'll announce kind of like a day every week.
But it is up and running now. You could actually email the college, email me, bovend@chipola.edu, and we could actually get you the link for our CGC Discord channel.
Yep. We have the Discord channel still running. It's kind of like in sleeper mode right now.
Ish,
yeah. But coming into this fall semester, I think this is going to be one of the biggest fall semesters that we ever have had.
The momentum's exciting.
It's absolutely. We have people coming into our offices every day, wanting to sign up for classes, and it's very energizing, to see that not only for our program, but for a lot of programs around Chipola. But the CGC, we're going to make, I think, a good announcement, I think, at the beginning or the couple weeks after the fall semester starts, and then we'll kind of announce when we're meeting every week or every other week, and then we'll play some games. We're kind of having a lineup right now, some of the stuff that we might be playing, and so if any of you guys like some trading card games or have any ideas of kind of the games that we can play either competitively or casually for the CGC, let us know down in the comments. It's the first time ever saying that. And so, one of the big topics that I want to talk about today is games.
Well, it ties well to the gaming community.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of news on games. I'm a very active PC gamer myself.
You're like almost professional, aren't you?
Yeah, professional. Yeah.
Semi-pro.
Well, I don't even play esports. Well, I used to, but so there's a lot of gaming news that's out recently. Right now, we have Steam, or Valve, actually, releasing their new...
Valve, who owns Steam.
Yeah, Valve, who owns Steam, releasing their device called the Steam Deck. And the Steam Deck is basically a portable, how do I say it? Like a portable console device in your hands.
Like a Switch?
Like a Switch, like a Nintendo Switch. Except the thing is that you can actually emulate just about any game that you want onto the Steam Deck, as it has an open source Steam OS. And so that means you can virtually boot up any kind of game that you want from Steam, or even, integrate your own operating system onto the Steam Deck and emulate anything from Nintendo games. So we're talking about like Switch games, although kind of like legally shady.
We
But
only recommend doing what's, on the up and up and,
Yeah.
and what's appropriate.
but
so.
this isn't like a complete recommendation, but these are what people are experimenting with
They are.
in programming.
They are, and one of our colleagues, Jeremy, who helps facilitate
Mm-hmm.
our Discord channel, travels that pathway well. It's good to
Yep.
kind of see what people are doing. So there's a lot of open source movement out there,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's a bit risky. So
Well,
just be
it just
careful.
really depends on the kind of software that we're
Right.
looking at. But a lot of it is open source, and it's homebrew stuff that people like to curate together in teams, and it really brings people together in the gaming community. And it's a lot of stuff that we'd like to see, as long as it's legally like preservable. We don't have a bunch
People are
of,
doing what they should be doing.
yeah, honestly. But this Valve, what is it? The Steam Deck is like a big piece of news because the recent developments in the Nintendo Switch atmosphere is kind of short, and the reason for that is because we've been in the silicon shortage in the U.S.
That's right.
for the past year and a half.
Worldwide, actually, yeah.
Worldwide, yeah. So a lot of companies that make microprocessors and just regular processors or graphics cards haven't been able to find the amount of silicon that they need to mass produce PCBs or motherboards or graphics cards or processors. It's really hard to find silicon right now because it's so highly it's so highly priced.
The same thing a Switch would use
Mm-hmm.
would need to be.
Any electronic
Yeah.
needs a certain amount of silicon to make the PCB, or not even the PCB, but the transistors that exist in processing units.
But you can make them out of a piece of wood, though, man.
I can, yeah.
Yeah.
But that isn't
Doesn't help the world.
That isn't a skill
Just
like
helps
everybody
us.
has,
Yeah,
like me.
that's
Yeah.
true. Is that a Marvel skill?
A Marvel skill.
Yeah.
It's like my predetermined superpower.
Well, Rob, who does our fifth quarter, I mean, he's a noted, clearly DC guy, right? So, that's
Yeah,
a
we're looking at
Marvel
you,
skill.
Rob. Yeah.
That's a Marvel skill, I believe.
Yeah. So, not everybody can make a computer from a block of wood like I can.
Yeah.
We taught that at Chipotle here, but we don't give that information out for free. So as I was saying, the silicon shortage and everything, it was really bringing up the prices for computer hardware, and so you really, if you one of the biggest issues that really hits, or one of the biggest areas that really hits, is PC gamers, because we can't really curate computer hardware as well as we could a couple years back.
Right. Some people now are just pausing, waiting for the prices to go down,
Absolutely.
trying to buy used stuff, which the price on used components is through the roof.
Well, it's not even the price on used components. It's really the price on new components is up right now because we have people that are scalpers. And what these people will do is they'll buy the item from the company that produces them. We're talking about AMD, Intel, NVIDIA, all the big three names in computer hardware parts. And so what they do is they mass buy these, and we're talking about buying like 15, 20, 30 of them in double digits, even triple digits sometimes.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but here's the kicker, is that they'll buy these things and then relist them online for 2 to 3 times to 4 times the price that they're actually listed MSRP.
Yeah, just a bad market flaw, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not enough time to turn around and to provide the supply to the marketplace for people to purchase.
It's funny to see that this happened where AMD and NVIDIA and Intel can't even get test products to their sponsors to have them test it before the scalpers get to it. Like, the scalpers will get to them before the testers can even test the products to see if they're even good products or not.
Do you see that ending anytime soon, or
What?
do you see the scalpers? Do you see them reining that in anytime soon?
I mean, in the past couple of months, since the start of
'Cause you're
2021.
quite the hardware guy, so
Yeah.
keep an eye on that.
I'm one of the, my biggest, ideal area in computers is hardware. So I like to keep a very, very close eye on anything hardware related, with the big three companies and PC
So what have you been seeing?
atmosphere.
Yeah.
In the past few months, I have seen their, prices are dropping for, PC parts because people are refusing to buy from scalpers, and those.
Or just waiting, right? So we're not gonna buy it all right now.
Well, yeah. So the thing is that even if they bought the new hardware, NVIDIA, Intel, and AMD are going to be coming out with new hardware to replace the ones that they've already bought, and they haven't sold, and so they want to get rid of the older hardware that they bought last year in 2020 because that's when a big chunk of hardware got released from all those three companies. And so we're seeing the prices go down for that hardware, but the prices go up for the newer hardware. So it's kind of a trade-off.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And so we're starting to see these, these pieces of hardware go for less and less on eBay, Best Buy.
Which is positive.
It's positive. I don't think that I think we're starting to see a big trend in silicon manufacturing again.
From the foundries?
Yeah, from the foundries. If I'm not mistaken, I think there was a company out there who bought a silicon manufacturing company from AMD here in the United States, actually. I don't remember which company it was. It might have been Valve, if I'm not mistaken. But we're starting to see these big movements, in the silicon industry, which is huge because we haven't seen these movements in, I think, a year and a half, ever since the coronavirus started, really taking a toll on our economy.
That's quite the business model to look at providing a product for consumers, such as Nintendo Switch, and to actually look at, in Valve's case, to actually buy a foundry. Can you imagine to have it from just creation all the way to distribution and the sale of it? That's powerful.
And that's millions and millions and maybe even billions of dollars going.
It's very Amazon-esque.
Going into
Amazon-like.
It's a lot of money going into manufacturing for computer parts.
Yeah.
And even then, that's not even most of the money that goes into like gaming.
Yeah, the software side, which is huge.
Software side. So we're talking about a lot of games, really depend on making a lot of money for their studios and developers, because development doesn't just start at the computer. It goes all the way back to the computer parts and PCs. And so as long as there's PCs to make games for, there will always be games. And developers and manufacturers make a ton of money off of this. And so we're kind of seeing, as you previously stated, the business model, the Amazon-esque, business model. How much money can you make in a year before you go bankrupt?
Right.
So we're starting to see game companies and developers start to try to make as much money as they can, before the market gets all, bland and dry and sucked up like it's like the California gold rush.
Wow.
Good
analogy,
the gaming environment that we're in right now is less about making good games and more about how much money can you make from a game that we release once, twice, or three times.
Yeah, and that's kind of tied to some of those lawsuits that have been against the Apple environment, right? About the App Store and similar places where they're trying to, it's all about money, less about the product and experience.
Really, it is, and it can really determine, whether an app or a game or whatever you want to name, it's whether about it being a good product and how much money they can make off of it. Even if they go in a lawsuit, there's a lot of games that had been started on specific sites where you can garner donations of money and make millions of dollars off of it. There have been
like crowdfunding or something.
Crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Where they can make games, crowdfunding games. They can promise something and they might not deliver it, but it'll be to the point where they might, what is it? There's so many games out there that you can actually look at on crowdfunding websites that are like half promised, and developers are making millions of dollars off of these.
Just kind of collecting some funds and leaving.
Yeah, they're literally leaved, and they're basically, it's kind of poisoning the well, really. And so that'll
makes you think twice as an investor.
Yeah, and so referencing, the Apple App Store and stuff like that is, a lot of these game projects are ending up in lawsuits, and so to them, they've already made millions and billions off of these apps and these games, to the point where they can afford these lawsuits, and it's kind of a wild thing to see, because that's a giant business move. As long as you're making money, you're set.
So if a firm can find a way to kind of entice customers, investors to raise money to support them with funds, and they're honest and they're good stewards, man, they can build a relationship that'll last forever. Yeah. It's very fertile territory right now because very many aren't doing that.
Yeah. And so one of the biggest examples that we see of developing good relations with your players or your customers is Blizzard, the makers of World of Warcraft, Overwatch, all of these big AAA games.
Not the Blizzard that I like when I go to Dairy Queen, right? And they don't hand it to me upside down. I get it free.
No.
Yeah,
That's sad. It's now Blizzard Activision.
Oh, nice.
Ever since their 2011, 2012 merger, irrelevant, but still, what they did in the beginning is they developed a good relationship with their customers, and they wanted, the people working at Blizzard were gamers, right? And they made a game that they specifically designed for themselves and then released to the public. And no wonder why it's the biggest MMORPG on the market, is because they actually loved the game. And now we're starting to see, ever since the Blizzard Activision merger that happened in 2011, 2012, I might be wrong on the date, but who cares? It's about around that time.
Yeah, about 10 years.
The quality of the game and the games that have surrounded Blizzard have gone down. And more microtransactions have been, attached to the game, so you can't get anywhere in the game, or it feels like you can't get anywhere in the game without paying them a hefty sum of money. We're starting to see this transition from how good can we make this game to how much money can we make off of it. And, finding that balance in not only games, but apps is a really, really good thing to have when you're making a good game and selling it for as much money as you can make, because you're basically extending the lifetime that game or app can, live.
Is there a gaming company out there now that you're a couple that you could call out that do a good balance, or just solely focused on the pure gaming aspect of it and less on the money-making side?
Well, I couldn't name off any off the top of my head, but I know that there is a new MMORPG in the market, Ashes of Creation, and they're really led by gamers themselves.
Okay, so that would be an opportunity.
Yeah, that would be an opportunity for people who like MMORPGs like me. And MMORPGs is just what's it? Multiplayer online role-playing.
Well, just the pure
Role-playing
gameplay in
game.
itself.
Yeah. And so that's a really big opportunity for us MMORPG players. Although it's one of those things where it's being developed right now, we don't have the product, but what can we expect? We've seen betas and whatnot, but they could just leave on the spot and take the money with them, because that is also a crowdfunded game, if I'm not mistaken. So what are some good game companies that I can call out? A lot of indie game companies love the games that they make. So they're not AAA, and they're not made by giant developer studios. They actually just want to make the game and, monetize it as, fairly as possible to people, and, move on and make a next game.
Well, we do have a game we could call out. We have in our COP 2000, our Intro to Computer Programming class.
Right.
A good chunk of the class is built around designing your own video game that we call the Canning game, and we talk about scripting.
Yeah.
So the whole focus is to become familiar with HTML, cascading style sheets.
CSS.
CSS. Some basic scripting, some Java scripting. Gives you the opportunity to actually program in JavaScript. We talk about Python, but it lets you kind of have a final product in the COP 2000, which is a fall class. And it is an elective across the campus, so it's fun. And that's a class that many of our colleagues will be in even this fall.
If I'm not mistaken, you're talking about Minecraft. Am I right?
Well, no, Minecraft would be, that's a game
Java.
that's a Java.
Yeah,
that's a Java program.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. So we got Java programming, and then we got the Intro to Programming class.
Right.
So we have two different programming classes that teach two different types of
aspects of it. Yeah, they just happen to have the word Java, but they're disparate.
There's JavaScript. There's a big difference.
Yeah. So in the fall class, we actually have the scripting side, the Canning game, which is fun, and the HTML, CSS path. But in the spring semester, we have the Minecraft version of the actual compiled Java.
Absolutely.
It's cool, and that was something that you actually were a leader for, so that was neat.
Even Minecraft, just bringing it right back to the, game company.
Talking about wood, right, and making stuff out of wood.
Even Minecraft is, being subjugated to the type of, strong, what is it, relentless, ruthless businessman concept.
Which is never productive.
Which is it's really
rarely productive.
Rarely, if ever. But they're being led by Microsoft, and I think that purchase went in 2016. Microsoft bought Minecraft's developer Mojang for however $1 million, and so now Microsoft is leading developer on Minecraft, and trying to monetize Minecraft as much as possible.
Well, Microsoft, Oracle is who bought Java. That's
Oracle,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
So Oracle is Oracle is the parent company that owns Java,
Right.
the developers of Java, the programming language. So yeah.
That's neat to have the Microsoft play. Yeah.
It's one of the biggest untapped, areas in the market is towards, that customer side of things, and it's really the demographic. Who are you selling this to? And how can you make much money as possible from them?
And what a cool concept we talk about in our classes
Mm-hmm.
as we kind of transition to planning for our next podcast
Yep.
is the thought of everybody's a customer. You mentioned customer,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that thought of total quality management, where you have the traditional customer as your customer who would purchase the product,
Yep.
but I'm your customer, you're my customer, everyone you work with, you want to provide your service, whatever you're working on that moment, that day, that week, in a way that enhances what they're working on,
Yeah.
you know, so it's kind of a win-win situation.
The consumerism structure model. You know, if I can make a product that you can use, and if I can make a product you can use, then we both benefit.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good example.
So
So thinking ahead to our next podcast, coming up in maybe about 2 weeks or so.
Yep.
Or a week and a half.
Well, this will be going out, I think, a little later than we planned, but yeah.
Okay, or this one's earlier, than the next one might be a
Yeah.
little later, yeah.
Absolutely.
So any thoughts that are, you're kind of working
No,
on?
I mean, every week we just have to wait and see
Whatever
what comes out.
happens, yeah.
Although, you know, the big topic of the
Space will be coming, right?
big topic of the month that we've been talking about for the past 3-4 episodes, space, the big billionaire space race. We got Jeff Bezos versus Branson. Branson already went up. You know, he's getting a lot of haters because of his whole, you know, subspace orbit thing. He wasn't actually in space.
The glider model.
But whatever, whatever gets people riled up.
Right.
But then Bezos is going up in these next couple of days,
Soon, yeah.
so we'll actually see the results of that within the next couple of episodes. So,
I wonder if that's the time to buy some buy some Amazon partials on Robinhood to, because it might just skyrocket the price of
actually,
Amazon.
I think the stock market's down.
I haven't even looked at it.
So
today.
I heard through the grapevine.
Okay, wow.
So I don't know.
Is that a new app, The Grapevine?
I should develop that app.
You should.
That's a great idea.
All right.
Yeah, I'll see you
Thanks,
later.
Steve. All right.